Ned Lazarus ואני מנהלים את המושב הזה, and we have quite a lot of speakers. We have very distinguished speakers. If we can be very short in presenting them, Ned Lazarus has worked for Peace Now, for Seeds of Peace for a long time, and he's now a lecturer at George Washington University, and his field is civil society activity. He will open the session, and then we'll ask 2 questions to each participant. I don't know if I have to present everyone, but we have really the distinguished forum of the most important civil society actors, and that maybe each one can say 1 sentence about himself in order to shorten time. Ned, please.
Thank you, Yair. Thank you to the Institute and for everyone who worked to make this fascinating discussion possible, and important and timely discussion possible. I say timely because I realized that I've now been working in this field for 20 years. First, as Yair mentioned, in the field, working on the ground with different peace and dialogue organizations, conflict resolution initiatives for youth. And then in the last 10 years as a researcher and as an evaluator, coming back to look at these initiatives and try to understand their impact in society in these very difficult conditions that we've discussed in detail today. And I think it's very important when we look at the field of civil society, and especially from the corner of civil society that's dedicated to peace building, to creating, transforming relations between Israeli and Palestinian societies and between Jewish and Palestinian citizens in the State of Israel, that this is in fact a very resilient and diverse field. While it's still much too small, at the same time, it's endured now through several decades of conflict irresolution and has in many cases adapted. And you can see when you look closely as an evaluator, there's a tremendous amount of success of very powerful models that have been developed at the micro level, at the individual level, at the local, communal level. And there's much that could be adapted fruitfully in other conflict areas as well. What we all know at the same time is that success in having impact on the larger society, on the political discourse, is too few and far between. It's elusive for many of the reasons that we've elaborated. As the 50th anniversary of the 1967 war approaches, there's much talk in civil society about how to mark this occasion. And what I propose in the paper here is, in fact, to think of it as an occasion for a Jewish concept called cheshbon nefesh, accounting of the soul. It's really sort of a rigorous internal evaluation of your shortcomings and thinking of strategies for how to move past them, to improve on them in the future. Now, civil society in its various forms, peace building, human rights, advocacy, has always been trying to generate a cheshbon nefesh in broader Israeli society regarding the situation of the Palestinians and the occupation. But we can all understand also at this point, it's very clear, that with all of the good work that's being done, with all that's been invested by the international community, which has invested consistently in this work throughout the years, with all the efforts of people who are here on this panel today, it's still reaching much too limited an audience in Israel. And so I think it's also important at this stage to look at the 50th anniversary that's coming up as an occasion also for internal reflection, that is, for people who have been part of civil society activism in the peace camp, and to understand why all of our work resonates with too small of an audience yet, and how we can broaden it. I would suggest 2 things. One is taking security very seriously and understanding not just the injustices of occupation, but also the security dilemmas of de-occupation, which have been emphasized here by many panelists and who are far more expert than I. The second aspect is something that I think the people on this panel are very well suited to address, and that's the need to broaden the involvement of all the groups in Israeli society. The peace camp, as we know, is now identified within one particular demographic. It's almost synonymous with a demographic, and the ideal would be that there would be peace camps within all of what President Rivlin called in his famous speech, the tribes of Israel. Not one peace camp that is a tribe, but peace camps within all the tribes. So I will now turn this over to our experts who are working in the field through outstanding initiatives like Women Wage Peace, through the Peace NGOs Forum, and through others that are featured here today to detail how we can broaden the support for a two-state solution. And absolutely, and I will first invite the ambassador of Sweden to come and share his remarks. Thank you.